Hi guys, welcome back to another amazing video of Top Movies Recap. Today I am going to talk about the horror movie called Bait 3D. In this movie, a beach scene opens the movie. In his car, a young man was seated. Josh is his name. That boy's pal comes to see him. They worked in the sea as lifeguards. Following their meeting, Josh's pal returns to his workplace. Josh then runs into a female acquaintance that was also present. A shark eats a swimmer after some time has passed. At the moment, Josh's pal was swimming in the sea. The third guard sounds a siren to warn them about sharks. When Josh hears this, he dives into the water to assist his friend. But he had no idea the shark was so close. The shark eats Josh's pal as Josh approaches him. After that, we see a year later, Josh is present. He was still upset that he hadn't been able to help his pal. He was sitting in front of the television, watching the news. It was all about avoiding that beach because there were a lot of sharks on the beach. Josh then departs for his new job. He currently worked in a supermarket. This supermarket was close to the seashore. Jane was a girl who was taking stuff from the market. This is witnessed by the mart's guard. That girl dashes over to his pal who works at the supermarket. The guard and manager then approach them and inform them that they have been robbed and that the police will be arriving shortly. Josh also notices her companion who entered the store with her. The police officer then approaches the management. In a parking lot, we see a couple in a car. The young lady had a puppy that she adored. She brought her dog with her to the market. Another robber arrived in another car with a companion to steal a market. Jane is escorted into the parking lot by a police officer. He takes her out of the house and locks her in the car. We learn that Jane is his daughter in this scene. The police officer was ready to leave when his gaze was drawn to a man. When the police officer sees him, he suspects him and pursues him with his rifle drawn. That man goes into the manager's office and requests that the locker be opened. When the manager opened the locker, it was completely empty. Then that individual imprisons the manager and takes him elsewhere. He is apprehended by the police officer. Josh's pal is kidnapped by the thief's other partner. He begs the officer to let his pal go. Josh is terrified as he watches her pal being imprisoned. Jane is helped out of the automobile by a buddy. He claims that your theft cost him his job. She goes to the store to inform the management that her acquaintance is not the thief. James' friend afterwards sits in his van. Josh's friend had been threatened by a thief with a gun. Josh pushes forward to save her friend, but odd things begin to happen. In reality, a marine storm erupted. The entire city was flooded and everything was ruined. Mart was also submerged in water. Josh is then seen in the water. A thief, on the other hand, sits on the roof of the Mart. After then, we see Josh's pal and the police officer. The leg of the police officer was broken. Josh's friend is on his way to get something to put on his leg. There's JM who shows up. How did she get out of the car? His father inquires. She claims that her friend was the one who brought her out. She begins to be concerned about her companion, believing he has died in the storm. The manager and the guard later climb atop the shelf as well. Josh then notices his female companion remaining in the water. Josh joins her on the ledge. A couple was stranded in their car beneath the water, pondering their options for survival. Josh's pal had survived. He comes outdoors after breaking the glass in his van with a sharp-edged tool. One of the robbers is brought outside and climbed on the shelf by Josh's friend. On the shelf, all of the survivors sat. They were well aware that the water level would rise. There's also a risk of an earthquake. As a result, both of Josh's friends proceed to the main door of the market to check it out while the security goes to examine the mart's back door. They wanted to go outside through whatever open door they could find. Josh, on the other hand, detects a threat. As he emerges from the water, he summons everyone to the shelf. Both of Josh's friends arrive on the shelf. The guard, on the other hand, is devoured by a shark. They were all made aware that there was a shark in the water. There's a risk there for them. Josh claims that this shark is really long. The pair in the car also notices a vehicle submerged in the water. The window of their car is then attacked by a shark. When they see it, they both get more terrified. That shark was now spinning around on the shelf. James notices it and wonders why it revolves around us. Josh's pal claims that it's doing this to figure out who it'll eat. And there's an earthquake there. A thick electrical cable dangles from the water's edge. They believe that if this wire falls into the river, we will perish. Josh says I should turn off the main switch. Josh's friend, on the other hand, forbids him from doing so because he had an injury to his arm. According to Josh's friend, rinsing blood will attract the shark. Josh's male friend has a brilliant suggestion. Using items from the store, he constructs body armor. To breathe in the water, he utilizes a pipe. After getting ready, he jumps into the ocean. Meanwhile, a shark approaches him but does not damage him. Mart's belongings were washed away in the water. There were also sea snakes in the water. Josh's pal was on his way to the main switch when his pipe broke. Josh was in charge of the other side. Josh's pal exhales the pipe from his mouth. He is able to turn off the main switch. He tries to reach the surface but is unable to do so due to his hefty costume, and he perishes on the surface. James' friend, on the other hand, assists the pair in the parking lot. He throws a disfigured hand from a dead body, which attracts a shark. Taking advantage of the opportunity, they begin mounting the other car, leaving their own. The shark, on the other hand, begins to approach them. That man, on the other hand, throws their dog into the sea, and the shark approaches it. As a result, they are saved. Josh and the thief then devise a strategy to escape through a ventilation window. The manager declares that he will take the lead. He was suspended in midair when the shark attacked and devoured him. Meanwhile, Jamie's friend tries to escape the house using a pipe. However, he falls into the water and the shark approaches him. Then he makes a beeline for the Hat couple. He begins scaling their vehicle. However, while assisting her, the boy falls into the water. Then he tries to climb onto the automobile, but he is eaten by the shark as well. The thief, on the other hand, intends to use a hook to catch the shark. The hook was located a short distance away from their shelf. The cop declares that he will bring the hook. Everyone explains to him that he is hurt and bleeding and that the shark will come to eat him. That police officer, on the other hand, is unconcerned. When his daughter Jamie jumps in front of him, he is going to jump into the sea. She was pushing forward to get the hook, but that shark was after her as well. She obtains a hammer and uses it to attack the shark, causing it to flee. Jamie grabs the hook and climbs back up the shelf. They now dangle the hook in the water with a piece of meat. However, a shark passes by and does not eat it. Why the shark didn't consume this meat, a survivor wonders. The thief responds by stating that it desires fresh flesh. He pulls out his revolver as he says this. He snatches her and tosses her into the sea. In fact, he intended to track down the shark by using this female, but suddenly the thief's accomplice attacks him from behind. Then he pierces one of his buddies with a hook and tosses him into the river. Here, a shark appears and devours him. Shark had also become entangled in their net. Meanwhile, James' friend and that female waited for assistance. However, that girl then notices her dog. The dog approaches him. When she sees it, she smiles. James' friend makes a sound with a rod, which James hears. To save her pal, she goes to the parking lot. Josh also follows her behind her to assist them. The upper door of the mart is closed by James and Josh, so that water from the upper side does not come in when they open the parking door. James' friend informs them as they approach the parking lot that a shark is quite close to them. Josh and James jump into James' father's car. It's her father's automobile, James says, and it's loaded with weaponry. Josh gets out of the car with a rifle and climbs back up. As he fires, he collapses. The shark was now rapidly approaching him. Josh, on the other hand, kills it. The upper floor of the bazaar is where everyone gathers. The thief, who is also Josh's friend, then notices a car stalled on the exit ramp. Josh was getting ready to use a high-voltage current to blast the automobile in order for them to be able to leave. The earthquake has struck again, destroying the market. As a result, the stuck shark is freed. Josh is made aware of the situation. He motions for the thief to exit the water. Josh shoots the shark with an electrical rifle as it emerges from the sea. The burglar then uses a high-voltage current to explode the car. Following that, they all exit the mart. When they get outdoors, they realize that the storm has completely wrecked the city. Nothing but shattered structures and smoke could be seen. We hope you enjoyed our today's video. If you did like this video, smash that like button and subscribe to our channel to stay up to date with the latest and interesting videos.